SEC kill shot. Welcome to the Voice of College Football. We break down the game we all love each and every day with you. Best discussion, debate, and analysis because of your engagement, your participation. Please give me a call on our next call-in show. All right, let's look at the SEC and the best possible case scenario for SEC football. Not necessarily academics, not necessarily media markets, but football first and foremost. And the academics and the media markets will certainly thrive as well based on this configuration of 24, yes, I said 24 SEC teams. The SEC currently with 16 with the additions in 2021 of Oklahoma and Texas. We lifted to 24 and believe this is the final stop for the SEC. This is a proposal. This is a recommended, suggested kill shot for the SEC to rule college football. This isn't necessarily my prediction, but this would be at the extreme height of SEC football power. This is what it would look like. And I'm counting out the ridiculous. This is not Ohio State joining the SEC. This is not even Notre Dame joining the SEC, although that is a remote possibility. Since it is remote, we are disdaining Notre Dame and going with more likely scenario, but still, this is optimum SEC power. So we've added, obviously, 8 teams that bring value to the conference, mostly in football. Maybe not necessarily right this second in 2022, but these institutions have proven that they can win in football and be forces in football. Sure, we consider the likes of Louisville and Pitt. You could go and say the SEC is going to go grab territory and get a partner for Kentucky and Louisville and bring their rival into the mix, and then also maybe go get Pitt, get into the North, and really steal away some Big Ten territory. That's a possibility. That's a thought, but we're keeping it regional in terms of the SEC being the ultimate SEC, meaning Southeastern power. Also, keep in mind recency bias plays into this. It doesn't play into my decision here, but you're going to discard, many of you, certain football programs. Keep in mind that a Virginia Tech, for example, was strong, top 10 strong for a long period of time under Frank Beamer. It's possible to win big at Virginia Tech. Even Georgia Tech, a laughingstock in college football, recently extremely strong, has reached just about as many ACC championships as almost anybody in the league. Georgia Tech has been strong and would bring much to the SEC. The 3 obvious additions from a football standpoint, and it would also help the brand, and it would help the reach and the national aspect of the SEC in the Southeast and beyond, would be Clemson, Miami, and Florida State. They've been down, obviously, but great all-time programs going back to the early 80s, and Clemson, one of the top 3 or 4 programs in the country right now and have been for the past decade. All right, the next level of additions here. North Carolina State, bring them on as a pair. North Carolina State's been a pretty marginal football program, but showing signs of coming along under Dave Doran. And we know that they've been a factor in the past. North Carolina, good get there as well from a football standpoint. Athletically, if you want to move it into basketball, media markets, the academic institution, strong. Georgia Tech, yes, we grab Atlanta. NFL bodies there, sure. They don't consider Georgia Tech right now as a destination, but Georgia Tech in the SEC brings academic credibility. And yes, recency bias. If you've only been watching or paying attention to football for the past 3 or 4 years, Georgia Tech's awful. They don't have to be awful. They've not been awful in the past. They have been a force in the ACC. And Virginia Tech, same thing I outlined. Virginia Tech and Georgia Tech down now, but they can be good and they bring value to the SEC. And then here, one wild card, because that's 7 additions to bring us to 23. Here's your wild card. Lock up Florida. UCF has just joined the Big 12. You can make it worth their while to join the SEC. UCF brings a huge enrollment of students. Huge alumni base, one of the largest in the country. The Orlando market, NIL, Disney. And then you completely lock down Florida with Miami, Florida State, UCF. And they've proven that they can compete in football. 2017, 2018 in particular. For the past 5 or 6 seasons, UCF has been a factor. And even before that, going to a Fiesta Bowl, defeating Baylor. UCF is serious about football. and they are in a huge entertainment market and would wrap up Florida for the SEC. Go get UCF as that 24th member. Now your divisions would look like this. Keep in mind, as you look through these divisions, I basically kept all the major rivalries intact within divisions. So division play will take care of the rivalries almost exclusively. There's a few that I couldn't adjust to, but that can be taken care of in scheduling. You can still make sure that you build a schedule in which the rivalries are left intact. So if there's too many rivalries to go through, once you throw the ACC and the SEC together with all the existing rivalries between these teams, you've got a glut of rivalries. So we're not going to review them all. You probably and should know the college football rivalries that matter, and they are intact. These divisions make sense. Let me know if you've got a better plan. Let's go to the SEC Western Division. The new SEC West looks like this. Arkansas, LSU, Missouri, Oklahoma, Texas, Texas A&M. Shoot, look at that. All those teams are rivals in some way, shape, or form, and they are reunited in a SEC Western Division of 6 teams. Now let's go to the Midwest. Bama, Auburn. Then you've got Kentucky, Tennessee together. Ole Miss, Mississippi State. There's your 6-team division in the SEC Midwest Division. Let's go to the SEC East. Georgia, Georgia Tech. Reunite those 2 teams. Of course, they play the final game of the season anyway. Then you've got Clemson in the same division as Georgia and Georgia Tech. If you don't know, Clemson and Georgia Tech are fierce rivals. It doesn't show up on the national radar, but they certainly are. Then we've got North Carolina and North Carolina State together. Also Virginia Tech, a rival with those 2 other ACC schools, and they would certainly fit as a rival with those other teams as well. Now let's take it out to the newly formed SEC Atlantic Division. Look at that Florida contingent. This would just lock up SEC dominance in the South and beyond, probably nationally. I don't know that the Big Ten could do anything to really match this unless they grabbed everything conceivable of value. Look at the Florida market, locked it down for the SEC with the addition of Miami, Florida, Florida State. Then you've got UCF, all in the same division. Then we've got South Carolina and Central Florida. Your determination for a conference championship is pretty easy. Some people won't like this because they want to ensure that if there's a second place team in a division that is truly like a top 5 team in the country, that they will play in the conference semifinals. However, keep in mind that we've got a 12 or 16 team playoff coming anyway. Those teams with 11-1 and 10-2 records in the SEC, especially this expanded, difficult SEC, will make the playoff regardless. But for the SEC championship, you have divisions for a reason. 6 teams, they are balanced. The 4 division winners move on to the semifinals. And then your championship game from there. In 2021, it would have looked something like this. Oklahoma went 10-2. We can't really count the conference records because they all played in different conferences and would have had much different schedules. So just keep in mind, Oklahoma out of the West, Bama out of the Midwest, of course, Georgia, the eventual national champion, and then some semblance of either Miami or UCF in a down Atlantic division, but you would expect those teams to come back here soon. Not that we really need to prove or confirm this, but just to show how dominant this new SEC 24 would be. Not that it's not dominant at 16, but with these 8 additions from the ACC and elsewhere. Let's check out the records for these programs going back to 2010 to show, again, the dominance of these programs. Of course, Bama's got the best record in the sport going back to 2010 with all the national championships. Ohio State is at number 2, and then this new SEC would play in rather well after that. Clemson has an amazing record, of course, at 137-28. There you see the other powers that have factored in well since 2010. LSU with a national championship in 2019. Georgia finally won one here after a national championship game appearance in 2017. Florida State falling off in recent years, but still with the 6th best record in this new conference going back to 2010 with a national title in 2013. When we get to the next level of teams, we see UCF factoring in with the 7th best record. Of course, that was compiled against inferior competition compared to the SEC. Still strong competition, but in the American Conference. But they've been extremely strong in going to major bowl games several times in this 12-year span. We've got Auburn with a 2010 national championship and a BCS championship game appearance. They came oh so close against FSU at the Rose Bowl in 2013. Texas A&M making their move, they believe, under Jimbo Fisher. Florida's been up and down, 95 and 57 during this time, but with a number of SEC Eastern Division crowns. Virginia Tech under Frank Beamer, and now through the Justin Fuente era at 95 and 62. And there you see Miami bringing up the 12th position in terms of record since 2010. It's been a marginal decade for the Canes, but still mid-tier SEC at this point. Then you go beyond that. You pick up teams like NC State. Obviously, Texas is the big disappointment, just with one basically good season during this entire time frame in 2018 in the Sugar Bowl and defeating Georgia, but only 16 games over 500 for Texas with all that money and talent and recruiting. North Carolina factors in as well at 81 and 71. They've been up and down, but Mac Brown apparently has them on the right track. Now we look to the lower portion of the SEC, which is still pretty amazing considering that Tennessee is one of the great all-time programs at 73 and 75. And you would think that Josh Heupel has better days in store. Arkansas, an interesting selection. Here's the second worst out of 24 programs. Going back to 2010, they were just coming off a strong run with Bobby Petrino, and actually in 2010 made the Sugar Bowl. Were strong in 2010 and 11, and then the nosedive under Chad Morris in particular, but Arkansas coming back, of course. Kentucky's an interesting selection, and look here, because Kentucky right now, you would have to say, is a top 15 program in the country, but 72 and 77 because they've been awful in the past. Ole Miss has been up and down, and of course, the floor goes to Vandy, and it's not even close. It's funny to see everybody bunched up between, let's say, 75 and 90, and then Vandy, the nosedive at 55 and 92. Clark Lee with much to do and much to accomplish. Vandy football is 2 and 20 the past 2 seasons. All right, there's your expanded SEC. We've knocked out the divisions. We've laid out the groundwork and why these schools, these football programs make sense. Your thoughts down below right here at the Voice of College Football. Leave those comments. Give me a call. Lock in on the team channels. We've got 25 right here at the Voice of College Football. See you soon.